Sorry.
Yeah, the coastal California is looking really appealing right now. I was looking at Zillow listings in Healdsburg and Boonville today. Yeah. Anyway, we're on the internet now. We're live. Hello, everyone. Here we are for yet another Hylo Redesign Collaborathon integration session, Australia edition, featuring special guest Tom. And yes, well, you didn't get all the way through the previous session recording, Tom, but I wanted to, um, I was suggesting to these guys that we pick up where we left off, so I can give you like a little recap, and then we could dive in.
Yeah,
That'd be good.
the last thing I was on was Aaron talking about collapsible navigation in the
Yes.
sidebar. So that was like
Yeah.
roughly the half-hour mark.
Everyone likes that. That's great. Not controversial, but what is controversial?
Oh,
Well, give the whole. Do you want to do a recap
Of the whole
of the meeting?
meeting? No, I was just gonna go
okay.
into the main
Okay,
thing.
Okay, good.
Okay.
main thing.
Main thing,
Yeah,
main thing.
yeah.
Okay. So we went deeply into the question of data architecture of groups, chats, posts, comments, DMs. If you are in the doc notes, you can see where me and Tibet are in there. And you can go down there. And we got into like topic-based chat. Do we need it? There was definitely consensus that we don't need to create a chat room for every single topic tag that anyone in a group uses, and then have like 100 topic chat rooms that no one ever intended to become a living chat room. So everyone's like, we're not going to do that anymore. Yep. But the question is, do we want topic-based chat at all? Is that something a steward creates and they just create a few channels? Or does every group just have general chat? And then if they want to have a chat room, is that actually a subgroup? And it's like a fully contained, very simple, streamlined subgroup. And that is kind of like the place, that inquiry is kind of where we got to at the end of the last session. And there's a contingent that thinks a chat room should just be a subgroup. And there's a contingent that thinks discussion posts should be reimagined and those should actually be chat rooms. And if someone uses a discussion post, they better be trying to discuss, baby. They better not be sharing a link or anything like that. And then the discussions become kind of like a forum, and you can show up to a discussion post anytime, and then there's like a chat under it. I don't know if I'm representing that viewpoint adequately. So that's kind of like the mix that we're swimming in right now. And it feels really important to figure out this aspect because so much of what we want to do from a user experience perspective is going to stem from how we decide to handle chat.
And subgroups.
And discussions.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely got past the maybe the initial touch points of like, Tibet bringing up, oh, like some people have asked for forum functionality. And like, what would that look like? And
but just because people want to organize like it's 1985 doesn't mean we have to select that.
Well, we do need to accommodate the desire to coordinate in a way that people associate with forms, whatever that is that people are looking for, whether it's like more long form, the ability to have long form interactions in text. Like we need to accommodate that deeper need because it is a valid way of coordinating.
Mm-hmm.
And we could even call whatever that is forum.
Mm-hmm.
But it would be a different post. Well, yeah, that's what a discussion could be, was the proposal.
Right, yeah. Is it labeled forum, but actually it's just all the discussions?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
well,
I'm
integrating that, so let's continue the conversation. But
yeah, I mean, I think the last proposal, which is listed here at the end of our notes in that section on proposed changes to topic-based chat, is that chat rooms are still a different thing than subgroups, and that you create chat rooms. And instead of every topic being a chat room, more like Slack, you like decide, okay, these are going to be the 5 chat rooms that we have. They could still potentially be associated with a topic. And so if a post gets created with that topic, it would still go into that chat room. But yeah, that was kind of the last proposal. And I'm definitely open to that. The idea of a subgroup of like basically only having one chat room per group and then utilizing subgroups more and having the sidebar be full of subgroups instead of chats. I still think it's interesting. It's definitely a little bit more radical and untested. And I think the challenge that brings up, which is actually similar to what I just read Jeff Parrott posted on the peer-to-peer group post in Hylo, is he was like, the way that URLs are handled is confusing for child groups, because if somebody uses a child group name that's like, Asia or like food, then like they're the only one that gets to use that subgroup name, because we just have a one global namespace for groups in terms of URLs.
That's a big issue.
So I think there is room for, I mean, there's that doesn't get solved by like having chat rooms still be a separate thing, but I definitely understand that quite often people want to create a like child group that is wholly contained within the parent group. They're not planning to like have that child group ever branch off and have other parent groups. And so then it might make more sense to like have the parent group slug first / child group or dash child group or something. Which of course could just be a matter of how the URL is defined, and it could still be its own group that can eventually branch off and do its own thing. So they're slightly unrelated questions, but I think it comes up because when we were talking about, well, if a chat room is just now a subgroup, you still would want to make it really easy to create that without having to go through the process of defining an image for the subgroup, defining a purpose and agreements and like all the things that groups, the sort of like larger group wants, but if you're creating like a subspace, you may not want or not need. So yeah, this is kind of the nuanced place we got to. We kind of ended on or didn't quite come to a conclusion on.
Yeah, I guess my question is like, how urgent is any of this? Like, is this the priority? I mean, it sounds good.
When you say this, what do you mean?
Like, are a lot of people asking for this?
Like subgroups or in that way, or
The contained subgroup
Yeah,
idea is maybe what you're speaking to specifically.
yeah.
I don't know.
Like, I agree that those things would be better.
well, I mean, maybe the frame is that where we have a sort of functionality with the topic-based chat groups, and we think that functionality meets an existing need, but navigationally people don't connect to it. They don't know it's there. They're not using it, and that no one's specifically asking for containerized subgroups, but that we're proposing that as a solution to this other need. So yeah, maybe what's the, going back to the need, which is that, within a group, people want to be able to direct their focus on a specific topic or something, a topic or what have you. And, so yeah, there's this like, oh, but how do we how do we do that technically, which, yeah, it sounds like it might be a bit of a pain in the butt. Like one of the things I was like, well, do we just want to do away with slugs? Facebook groups are just, they have an ID, for example. So you can have duplication of IDs. Yeah, Claire, do you want to jump in?
Yeah, I guess I just want to hear from Tibet, like, what is the advantage of making it a subgroup versus a chat room in the current group?
So let's use our own Hylo setup as an example. We currently have the Hylo general circle, which is kind of our like main space for the stewards of Hylo. We also have a product circle, a community circle, and a dev circle. Um, I find that I'm confused about where to post things. And if I post stuff in the product circle or the dev circle, it's less likely to get attention than in the general circle. And there's also like a dev chat room in the general circle or product chat room that might be sort of easier or simpler to have everything contained in there. But imagine if instead of the chat rooms, it was just the subgroups, product, dev in the sidebar. And so it was super easy it's like if something is general, you just type it into the general chat room. But if you want to post about product, you click on the product and it pops up in the product chat room, which is like going into that subgroup. But the user experience is basically just that it opens up that chat room and maybe the image changes, you know, the set of people that are in that are going to be different. So if you clicked on the like members or directory, you would see that set of people. But the user experience is more like Slack, where you're just like jumping between the different subspaces, and there's a lot less confusion about like where to post. There's just like one set of things, which is like the groups that are connected to this space. So that's like trying to use a real world example. Yeah. And I guess if we like keep separate chat rooms, I would still want it to be easier to jump into subgroups, first of all. I don't know. Yeah, it's just trying to simplify by having like less different things to think about in terms of how you're designing the spaces for conversation.
Yeah.
Maybe another way to think about it is like, what is the differences between these things? A chat room is kind of a like high level topic that you talk a lot about in a group. And so you want to like have super accessible and have lots of people, it's like the main set of like high level topics. A post is like a very specific topic or question that you may want to have a conversation about over time, but it doesn't, also you might be done with it and it might kind of no longer be needed. And then groups and subgroups, there's different uses for them in like different contexts. I mean, it's basically the group I think of as more about like who are the people that are in it, and what is the purpose of it. And so I'm trying to like distinguish like, okay, when would you want a chat room versus a group, and could they be the same thing or not? Yeah.
Yeah. I can respond to that, but I'll let Tom go first.
Thank you. Just the thing that kind of popped into my mind was again just the idea once a group admin has the ability to shape the navigation, like what's in the navigation menu, then like what if it's like these topics are just pointers. Some of those topics point to a chat room and some of those topics point to a group because that topic has now evolved, or like they've conscientiously said, okay, like this whole channel, we're just gonna hit the convert button and it goes into a group, and then it becomes more about like making sure that it's understood that there's that difference between I guess the pointer and where it's going. It's like, does that simplify things or does it make it harder? The end.
Yeah. I think that hews a little bit closer to what people have been asking for and what people really need and want. The customization of the sidebar, like people really, really want that. And that's a huge leverage point for people. So like if you're never using the projects tab, like that can just go away. Or
Right.
if you know, you can have the custom links that are important to you. But what I like about what you just said is that like you could have your key subgroups could be up there,
Right.
and you could have your key chat rooms up there too. And those are two different things, in my opinion. But that sounds really great. And on top of that, if people could even change what they're called, like that is cool.
And it accommodates actually the thing that's talking about. You can just create a list of groups. Jumping into that group brings you right to the general channel. Boom.
Yeah.
All we need to do to really deeply accommodate it is make creating a group and joining a group very easy and frictionless under certain circumstances. And that is also a goal of this redesign.
Yeah. Well, what I wanted to say in response to what I was saying, that to me, like I don't check the Hylo product, Hylo group very often, like, and I usually just expect things to be in the general circle. And for me, it's onerous to have to check multiple different groups. I prefer to have the content as aggregated as possible so that I don't have as much cognitive burden about all the different groups I need to check. And so like I would much prefer just to have like a chat room experience where we're in the general circle, but there's like some, you know, a couple key chat rooms. Like we have the product chat room. If we could have a community circle chat room, because like the community circle, we're also not using our Hylo group for that. We have a WhatsApp group, and all we need is one chat channel to coordinate amongst ourselves. And if that were more, I don't know, more visible, I guess, in the Hylo group, because right now the chats are hidden away. If it were more visible, we'd just be using it in Hylo. And that's literally all we need is that chat room. We don't need to be a separate group. Like, and there's an issue that we haven't really talked about, which is like, are those subgroups gated? Like if they're the chat room, but it's a subgroup and it's different people, like, how are we thinking about that? Because like sometimes a subgroup is only for certain people, but a chat I feel like anyone can kind of look at.
And anyone who's a peer in the group with you should be able to see that. That's kind of how it works. But you can't necessarily join every group that is a child of the group.
Right, totally.
Yeah.
Like the group's functionality already has that access layer on it, but I wouldn't expect a chat room to have that.
But I really appreciate both of what you're saying, but under a custom sidebar, really what these two viewpoints is just viewpoints about how to set up a group, how to set up that sidebar. Because some groups may want
what it looks like
a list of subgroups, which the experience of which is you click on it, you join the group, and you jump right into the conversation.
Mm-hmm.
We could structure it that way, but for our team at this size in the stage of our evolution, we only need really a few chat rooms to coordinate our activities.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, in part our group structure is also like trying to be a mapping of
right
you know, like the sociocratic structure that we want to fill in, and you know, it's kind of set up for a future that we're not, you know, we're not in right now.
Right.
And similarly, because topics just automatically get sort of created, sorry, chat channels are automatically created from topics. Of course, there's going to be a lot of duplication between those groups. Maybe, perhaps if we were just had the ability to be more conscientious and select them, it would be a little bit less fragmented.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, what I'm pondering would hopefully solve what you're talking about, Claire, which is like you don't check the other group because it's hard to find and kind of in a separate space. But if it was just in the sidebar and clicking on it was the same experience as opening up a chat room, then it would be just as easy to check as checking a chat room.
But not if the UI of a group was the UI of a group. Like, I don't want to have to see all the group stuff to just participate in chat. I literally just want chat. I don't want to see anything else. I don't want to have a map. I don't want to have all the stuff on the sidebar. I don't want to have like a different member directory. I just want chat,
I don't quite understand actually.
Like, I'm worried that if it was a subgroup, there would be all this other stuff there.
Well, one implication under this new paradigm is that a group is everything that, it's not just the collection of people, but it's everything that they've shared in there. So the content gets organized as people share it. So if all of our circles are intermingled in the general circle, which they are right now, according to everybody here, every link or project file or post would get organized in the same stack.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one reason why we might, as we grow, use more of the subgroup features under this new model. But really, honestly, I think that what we're arguing about is what is the default or what happens. It's not about whether people can do this. People under this idea, which I think we were all attracted to, the customizable sidebar.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just customizable, but what is the default? What happens in an evolutionary context as the group grows? What happens when you add a subgroup? Probably during that flow, one of the last things it asks you is like, do you want to add this to the sidebar?
Mm-hmm.
Or just have it hidden in the about menu?
Mm-hmm. The groups tabs.
Right.
Can I share my screen for a sec?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, let me know. Let me fix that. Okay. We should be able to.
Okay. So here's our current chat. It still shows all the group stuff, right? Like you still have all the navigation on the left and the group name up above.
Mm-hmm.
So if I click on a different chat room, it's still showing the group stuff. So I guess that's what I wasn't quite clear on what you mean by you don't want to see the group stuff.
I'll show you. I'll show you in Mighty Networks.
Okay. For that, just to say that like the main difference between if these items on the left here were chat rooms within the same group versus subgroups, is that clicking on one would change the name up here at the top. And all of these navigational elements would now be reflective of like the content of that
different group.
different. Otherwise, the user experience could be pretty much the same as jumping between chat rooms. And I'm not totally, again, I'm only bringing this idea up as an idea. I'm not attached to it. And I actually definitely see the value in having multiple chat rooms. And in fact, maybe, or having chat rooms as a separate idea, maybe some of what we're debating here is whether groups should have just one chat room or the ability to have multiple chat rooms.
I think that's still a question. And I think a bigger question for me is how can we make the chat room more front and center, whether it's one or a few. That's like the biggest question for me, because I want to go to a group and have the chat room right there.
Exactly.
It has to be fast. Otherwise, I'm just going to keep using WhatsApp, you know?
I think that we're all in agreement. I think, let me just check that we're going to default new groups to starting with the chat room as the default view from the general chat. Okay.
Yes.
We're
Yes.
agreeing on that.
Yes.
I think we're also in agreement that we're not going to have a chat room created for every topic that's ever used.
Yes, we are 100% in agreement on that.
Okay, great.
We're going to let the sidebar be customized.
Yep, absolutely. So we've got 3 things we're in agreement on.
Yeah, and I'm going to move everything we're in agreement on. I'm going to move to the top of this section in the notes.
There is a section at the bottom that is proposed changes to topic-based chat.
Yeah, I'm going to move that to the top of the section because a lot of this in here is notes, or you can move it, but basically like my goal with all of these sections is that we solidify what we're actually going to do, put that at the top, and kind of delete the rest of like the notes.
The notes are good though. I think it might be just move it to a different place that's like
location.
We decide.
But okay, well, I'll move the proposed changes to topic-based chat to the top of the section now. Experiments. Nope. Cool. So I just wanted to show you guys real quick what sucks about Mighty Networks.
Yeah, I want to see what sucks about networks.
Where is it? I don't know where my different tabs are. Here they are. Okay. Yeah, obviously Mighty Networks is fine, whatever. Here I am in the group for my regenerative land management certificate, and they have tons of groups. They use Mighty. So for each module in the class, they have a different group, and there's like, you know, so much stuff. Like this is the table of contents, and then there's a feed. It's total mayhem, and like I cannot handle any of this. To get to chat, apparently you go over here. I didn't even know that until this moment. It's so bad, right? And then if I want to go to a different thing, like that's another whole group.
They're called spaces, the things.
Okay. Yeah, it's a different space, it's a different chat. I don't know, it's a different paradigm entirely because it's not about coordination, but like this feels like clunky to me. Like I'm like sifting through a lot of stuff.
Yeah, right.
And yeah, again, it's not about chat, but if it were, this would be really bad. And to me, this is kind of like how our current situation feels. Like to find the actual conversation takes a lot of effort.
Yeah, so just maybe to riff on that. Can you pull it back up just so that I can kind of like
Yes,
Bathing the vibe.
we're talking about
yeah, one of the things maybe the contrasts here are like they're obviously like trying to share a lot of static content.
Yes.
So there's a lot of like core stuff and links and and what isn't so great is that the chats and even maybe the feed, all those different conversations are sort of scattered throughout the content as opposed to maybe, you know, maybe there's the yearning to just have like, hey, like just show me what everyone's talking about right now. They could be talking about things in module 1, they could be talking about things in module 2. And this feed here is this feed posts just in module 2?
Yes.
Okay. So there's a lot of surface area for what's like recent activity to be lost. You know, I'm in this group and you've got to really hunt around for like what's what's immediate. So yeah, that's sorry.
Each of these groups is a total silo.
Yeah, right. Which is the classic challenge with a lot of our sort of peers in the Mighty Networks view of things have a very siloed way of operating because they're not built to interconnect. So yeah, just curious to bring it back to our context. Yeah, is this the place where, for example, where Slack has that like recent activity or like here's what's happened? Is that the sort of feature that this view here needs to really help any one of these members to more immediately tap in to what's happening?
Yeah. Aaron?
Well, two things. One, I'll just respond to what you just said, and then to what Claire said before. Okay, we have composable sidebars. We have composable views right now. And one type of view, the Explore view, which is like super composable. And I wonder if we can explore in that direction to like help people build templates based on their needs. Because you're right, like some people will organize content this way because the structure of learning is linear and you need to go through in order to know the information for the next step of the learning journey. So in other words, some spaces need to be organized like a school with classrooms, but some spaces need a foyer, a place to like come in and talk to people and say hello.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, this is like what do people land on when they first join the group? Some groups are like they need the map because this is a resource-based local network hub of local resources. We just want to show people where the stuff is. And they don't care about chat at all. And so I wonder how to go further in the modularity customization direction in terms of like group creation and group setup in order to sort of circumvent some of these tensions and resolve them at the same time. Like, because if I'm setting up a group and the only option is to have just a chat room and I'm trying to do something else, that might be feeling and confusing. It's like, wait,
Yeah.
I'm not trying to chat. We're supposed to do work here. Anyway, go ahead to that.
Yeah. I mean, I love this idea. I think that we could merge kind of a lot of the like customization into like around topics and custom views into one kind of like views area or something. And there's like a set of default views that we come with, and the general chat room is by default the like home landing page, but you can, select which one you want to be the default landing page. You can reorder them. You can turn ones on or off. You can add new ones and customize, like, is this a chat room? Is this a stream? Is this a widget page, like the Explorer view? And then like, which widgets do I want to have appear in there? I think that gives us like maximum flexibility and also like simplification in a way, because it's like everything is just a view and you're just organizing and deciding what you want to appear and be the default. I think that's a really great direction to go. And I had one more thought. I still think that having a like stream, especially if we're going to have more than one chat room, having a like stream view that aggregates all of the content that's happening across the group and lets you just kind of scroll through it and find it was a good idea. And then it could also be the place, and it could be a separate place that's like the stream of everything you haven't read, but it could be kind of like email where it's like, your stream, your inbox, and you can click a button to say only show me things that are unread. And it could just be the stream view is like the place so you catch up on everything or like see everything that's happening across all the different views and spaces.
Mhm.
Two questions that I have are how do we think about child groups and aggregating data? Do we still want to try and do that? Have a way in a parent group to like see data from children group in one place? I know that's been confusing for people, and so we want to rethink that. And then how does cross posting work? If we're still going to support that for chats or if it's just for fancier post types, and how does that work in these different views?
Okay, Tom, then me.
Okay. Two things. The first one was, again, just touching back to the customization thing, and an extension of that where I think there should be like an auto mode and a default mode as well, where like you can say just put it on auto mode, and as the group grows, it will automatically like
Mhm.
add
Cool.
some of these things. And then separately there to be like, no, actually, I really want to be in control of the experience, like fully manual. So I think that would just be another extension on that idea that I think would be good. And then the last thing is like, I don't think chat should be cross group.
Mhm.
At least like there's a lot of ways I think it can be confusing. Like I would literally be like, if you see aggregation of chats from different groups, you have to disable being able to add a chat, because I just feel like people are going to see all these chats and just be like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna type in here, and then it's like, where does that chat go? So I'm down to like have an aggregation of like, here are these groups have all these chats, like click on them to be involved. But yeah, the multi group chat kind of bends my mind a bit, and yeah, the
Yep.
end.
Yeah, I just want to say I'm on the same page. I do not think chat should be cross group. I think post should be cross group. I think let's just leave that as it is. I feel like that works great. I feel like people get it for the most part. It's still really powerful to be able to post across groups. The child group aggregation, I think I don't have any evidence that is a success. I have evidence that it's not a success, aka our own team members don't understand what that is. And it's been confusing to others as well. I don't know if we need to delete it out of the feature set, but so far it hasn't seemed to be a huge value add.
I think it's for me particularly, very specifically, it was a surprise in a way. It's like I'm in this group context, I'm in this group stream, and like it's because we don't allow streams to be customizable. If it was like I'm in this group, but I'm in its explore view, or I'm in its like aggregated view, and I saw all this other content, I'd be like, okay, cool. Like this is the aggregate view. Like I think, and like literally it's like the post is there. It had the little thing from a child post. I'm the one who implemented the little thing that said, this is a child post. And I was still like, wait, what the fuck? Why is this here? Um, and so I think, it was just that surprise for me of like, I'm in this group centric model of like, I'm in a group, I'm in its stream, and I'm not like tapped into the stream. Any group stream could or could not involve child group content. Whereas maybe like what I really want is that there's a thing called a stream, or there's a thing that I know it's called something and it's just that group. And then there's another thing I can click that is the aggregate, like the aggregate stream. Like I don't know what the names of those two things. I just want them to be different names.
Right.
Then I can like, yes,
Like,
okay.
like you click on the groups tab, then you see all of this, the group screen in addition to the map of the groups at the top.
Yeah, maybe that's actually the thing. You hit the groups tab, it shows you all the content, and then there's the extra sidebar of like, or we've collapsed the group navigation in together in some way.
Something, yeah,
Yeah,
but there's something there. Just being like, this is the
network view.
putting it in a different, yeah, a network view is a great name for it.
Yeah.
And that could be a custom view type. Put it in the sidebar, a network view.
Or just a toggle that I mean, certainly by default, it should be off. But you could like toggle on network view or aggregate view. Because I think that once we have large networks with lots of people, with lots of subgroups, it is going to be valuable and like a really cool, unique aspect of Hylo, where it's like I can see everything that's happening across this network without having to like jump to 10 different groups.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just needs to be more clear and we just haven't had the use cases as much.
Yeah, well, okay. So on that note, I got a help request from someone who was on the BioFi call this morning, who was like, "Look at my stream. I don't see anything." And he sent me a screenshot, and he had filters on, and he had the requests filter on, so he could only see the requests, and there was only one, and it was in list view. And I was like, "Oh, just look in the middle of your screen. There's a drop down where you can adjust this." But that was not obvious. And so one of the things that would be really cool is like the first time you show up in Hylo or as part of the click-through tour, we should have tooltips. Just trying to trigger you, Tom. Tooltips over the stream controls, I guess, or whatever they evolve into in the near future. But being like, you can filter what you see in the stream. Click on this, click on that. I don't know, like that's just like a small example of like the things that we need to kind of explain to people. And similarly, we would have a little thing around the aggregation button that's like, you're seeing posts from the child groups too, but you can turn that off. Like if we're going to do these things, we need to explain them to people.
Yeah.
That's the main point.
Yeah, agreed. Landed.
Writing that in usability.
Yeah. Everything needs an introduction.
Also, no matter what we do, people are going to miss stuff and we're going to have to explain it to them sometimes.
Yes, but we don't have the capacity to, at scale, handle 10,000 requests to show me where the filter dropdown is.
Yeah, well, maybe we can. I mean, Intercom in theory should be able to answer a lot of those questions automatically. If people type in like, why can't I see?
That'll get better over time.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's the kind of question people shouldn't have to ask.
Yeah.
Like if it's not that obvious, that's on us.
Yes, don't make me think.
Exactly. We should not be making people think too hard.
Show, don't tell.
Yeah, the filters.
The content should be making people think, not the platform.
Exactly.
Exactly. Yes.
And in general, I just want to imbue things with more life. A lot of interfaces have gentle reminders to show you that controls exist, for instance. They pulse lightly every few minutes or something like that until you click on them. And then they stop pulsing.
Machine spirit is alive.
Little thing, exactly. It's the heartbeat of Hylo.
Periodically.
There's a little axolotl that runs around the screen and jumps on a particular feature and is like, have you looked at this?
Maybe instead of red dots, we could have little like seedlings that bloom up. It's like new.
The longer they're left unread, the bigger the screen grows. Eventually, the whole screen is consumed.
Like it's like a little branch of tomatoes with like little green tomatoes that get bigger and bigger and then they turn red.
It's a strawberry.
And then you want to eat them. Yeah. Like how does your face feel like picking berries?
Oh,
The best feeling ever.
yeah. Just so good check mark.
Hylo, that should be the organizing
like,
concept. Hylo as a pick, you pick.
Right.
Berry.
Well, it's like it's like you're setting up your garden. Like you set up your different beds, those are different views, and then each one you put different
Love it, love it, love it.
in it.
Right.
I'm gonna
And
put
when
all of
there's
this.
no new notifications, it's like a rotten old apple core.
Yeah, it's like a fresh soil that's like brimming with
Oh,
light.
yeah. Yeah.
But if there's a notification or like a message you haven't responded to, then it's like an old wilting.
Yeah, it's
plant.
wilting. It's about to die.
Yeah, let's guilt those procrastinators.
Also a good idea. It's like, are you stewarding your garden of relationships well?
Yeah.
All right. So did we decide that we're going to offer the ability to have multiple chat rooms? Seems like where we're landing is for now, we're not going to replace chat rooms with subgroups. We're still going to have chat rooms.
I think
And
we just need to answer the question, what is a chat room? And how is it different than a discussion post?
Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm setting that aside. I think yes, Tibet, like what I want to propose as like the next step, and doesn't have to be like the final form of Hylo or anything, but I think we're gonna get a lot out of just allowing the sidebar to be customizable, letting people put some key subgroups there if they want to, and having the topic-based chat just be specific rooms that have been created by responsible adults. And then we're going to have a much more curated experience. And for people that want to use the subgroups, they get to go to the subgroups. And for people that want to use the chats, they can go to a chat. And that to me is like a good experimental condition. We're not changing too much, but we are changing, I think, enough to see if we like detect a difference in people's usage, you know?
sounds great. And
Okay.
Aaron, I think the main difference to me between a chat room and a discussion post is a chat room is, again, it's like a really general topic that the group plans to be talking about forever. And a discussion post is a specific topic or question that probably has a lifetime. Um,
And it's like the discussion post in the current model anyway. It's like one thing, a big chunk of thing, and then it's all the comments that are sort of like directed at that. Whereas chat is kind of just the like. So it does feel like a different, yeah, different style of discussion.
Yeah. People will definitely ask why they can't create multiple chat rooms.
I think
And
we're saying,
maybe we just need a new
They can't.
post type.
I think we're saying we can.
Make it more confusing. We can call it a forum post type.
Yeah.
No,
Wait.
you don't call it forum.
I thought you were saying that we would have one chat room per group and
No,
it's not
we're
create more.
in what is currently being proposed. We're saying that there's a general chat room by default,
Okay.
and then a steward can create
Oh, okay,
additional
okay.
rooms.
Yeah. Or
Yeah.
maybe it's a power that
Sure. It's a responsibility that can be given to a role. Yeah.
Do the chat rooms still connect to topics? Like if you use the topic that is the name of the chat room, it's still
Yeah, I like that.
But you can tag chat rooms in your post and it goes to that chat room, I guess is what we're saying.
but just with the
Yeah.
hashtag. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Great. I
The
feel good.
hashtags.
I
And
feel
Yeah.
no single strings. No spaces.
Yeah. So then are we getting rid of the ability to subscribe to topics, like that whole like list of topics being used in the group and subscribe to them?
I don't know. I don't think we have to. I'm not sure what you
I-
get out of being subscribed to anything. Do you get notifications?
Yeah, you do.
It's probably not even working.
Well, you can definitely subscribe to the chat room.
Yeah,
We
we're
do
gonna
need, we do need a way for people to receive the signals they want to receive.
well, notifications has got to be our whole next session because
Yeah.
Yeah.
we're gonna need notification settings per chat room. which we don't currently have, except, yeah, we don't currently have that. There's like, yeah, many things on the just notification side here.
Yeah. Well, maybe we can use the topic subscription that way. And repurpose that to send notifications when there's something in that topic.
Yeah. What else? Wow, I think we may have figured it all out for now.
Oh, good. All right, let's do it.
Well, okay.
Good job.
We got through a thing. We did it.
I think we redesigned Hylo. We
I think we did.
can quit now.
Yeah, we can retire. That's nice.
By the way, I don't know if I told you all this, but the library that we currently use for our chat room released a like it's a library for like lists in React, to fast scrolling lists. They released a specific chat room component that you have to pay for, but I'm going to try it because I think it may solve all of our bugs and performance issues. And then we'll have like support for someone who's like explicitly creating a like best in class chat room experience for React.
Right.
How much is it?
Um, I
That was
negotiated with him a little bit. What was it?
SAS. They actually just make you promise your firstborn.
Whose first one are we doing?
Well, ours is already occupied, so we're
It's
gonna have
already- yes.
Annually. So
Oh, annual. I guess maybe we can be year 2.
yeah.
Oh, here it is. So, and he basically charges per developer, and I was like, well, we might have a lot of open source developers, so that isn't going to work for us. Can we just pay for our like full-time staff? And he agreed to that. So, I mean, it's not cheap. It's like $168 a year per full-time developer.
Ah,
That's not so bad.
not too bad.
Scales well.
No, I mean, I think it's totally worth it. It
Couple of
gives-
hours of developer time a year. If it saves, then
exactly.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. Looking at it that way, it pays for itself.
Yeah.
Okay,
Cool.
y'all, that was great.
We did it.
We did it. We'll schedule more sessions. With you.
Yay.
We love you, Tom.
Sorry,
Love
Tom.
you guys.
Miss you.
Miss you.
Okay, next meeting I'll tell you exciting gossip,
Oh.
but we're not gonna do it on the recording.
Okay. Okay.
Oh, juicy.
Okay. Love you. Bye.
Love you guys.